Jurassic Park. Now playing the theater.
Ecto goggles with Ecto Bomber, neutron blaster, and water zapper, each sold separately.
From the corner penthouse of Spook Central all the way to Star Killer Base, this is Yes Have Some Podcast.
Do I? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
You know, they told me you people were conceited douchebags.
The only place in the multiverse where you can love the book, hate the movie, but still buy all the toys.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
What?
Please remember to hold on to your butts and get ready to get stressed. With your hosts, Craig Goldberg, Abigail Gardner, and Jacob Walsh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg. Thank you for joining us. Happy Ghostbusters Day.
Yeah.
Late.
Happy belated.
Happy belated Ghostbusters Day. Abby,
Yeah.
is your microphone okay?
I think it's not okay.
There you go.
I'm sensing that maybe you think it's not okay. So
Well,
let's move.
it's under your chin.
Okay.
There's one thing.
Well, let's speak into the microphone.
Cool.
What I like is that we're doing this now
I
on the actual show.
I've learned over the last couple of years that the only way to get either of you to do anything is to do it in front of our audience.
to shame us.
I promise you that it's somebody's favorite part of the show where literally every single week you yell at Abby for not talking into the microphone.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's why in the next episode I'm going to be bringing my therapist on and we're all going to talk together.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Microphone
great.
therapy. Hey, look, Jacob Walsh is back. Hey, man, how are
Hey,
you?
Jake.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Our cold opening last week was the surprise hit of the summer.
It did well, I guess.
Yeah. It was kind of like Jaws. It was a big surprise.
Yeah.
Everyone was lining up, listening to it, loving it.
Nobody saw it coming.
Yeah.
And similar to Jaws, they were worried that the minimal amount of time you see the shark would negatively impact the movie.
Oh, but no.
But
Jake's presence was felt throughout the
Jake was
entire
on the
episode.
episode for about a minute and a half, and it was the biggest response we've ever gotten. So, Jake, how did that make you feel?
It felt good. I just want to thank everybody for listening and for us. I was actually kind of nervous about it because when we did that, it sounded so real to me. I was like, are people going to know that we're just playing, or
Yeah.
are people think that we really yell about this kind of stuff when we're not recording?
I would be.
Well, that's what makes it good. Like when you can't tell if you're serious or not. I think it means you're a good actor, but also
it's very funny.
there's some real emotion in there.
I mean,
like, we
I'm
know
not gonna.
that.
I can't pretend that there's never been a time where Jake has called and be like, "Why are we talking about DC again? Why are we doing that?"
I'm not going to act like literally
But
yesterday
I've
we
never
all
like
said
been
no more
mad.
DC.
I've never been like
Upset.
Right.
feel annoyed about it.
Right. No, it's all good. Welcome back. We had some fun last week talking to John and Ryan, but we will not be discussing the DC cinematic universe this week. I don't believe so.
Thank God.
It's not on the rundown.
I'm so happy. I don't have to watch any. I don't have to force myself to watch any movies that I don't like. That's what I said. My big announcement after I watched Willow for the first time last week. I said to Craig, I was like, "It's a good movie because I watched the whole thing and I finished it and I really liked it." Yeah, I like watching movies like all that I enjoy that I'll go all the way to the end that keep me interested. So DC, sorry.
So you haven't rewatched Birds of Prey, is what you're saying?
Oh God, no.
Well, cool. So, couple announcements off the top. We've got some new merch in the YHS store. We've reopened our merch store. We've got brand new shirts that are there in the. They're all linked on our social media. You'll find the shop if you want to shop. If you want to shop for YHS stuff.
Josh Bellin found the shop.
Josh Bellin bought a bunch of shirts this morning.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
I like that. I said that guy loves musicals. You know, he posts in group therapy about musicals, and Hamilton hit Disney Plus today. I think he was just feeling like excited.
You do it.
He'd
Yeah.
buy a bunch of Yes Have Some shirts.
Right. Like if he were going to this live, he would be buying merch. So he was already in the mood.
Yes.
And so he just put it our way.
Exactly.
I love that.
Thank you to him. And big thanks to Brendan Pierce, who did our brand new design that we released this week that we're doing limited prints for. There's a few prints still available. If you're interested, join Yes Have Some Group Therapy on Facebook to get the information. Incredible design, really great work. You can get it on a shirt as well. We've, Jake, I sent you the initial concept for that design probably about a month ago. But you specifically had a couple additions. I wanted you to highlight your creative input, which turned out to be two of my favorite things.
I thought it was amazing right away, but and usually I'm not the kind of person to be like, oh, change this or do this. But you were like, hey, if there's anything we want to add, he said, just let us know and he'll add it. And the two things that immediately came to my mind were, when you're the number one Leprechaun podcast, you got to have the Leprechaun in there. So
yes,
I was like, we got to have a Leprechaun, and I want a critter in there just because I love critters. And I feel like I bring critters up enough that I'm like, that needs to be in there. I did notice somebody left a comment, which I didn't even think about this, but somebody left a comment like saying like, how was Linda Blair not in this?
Oh.
And it just like that completely somehow was lost on me that there was no reference to Linda Blair in there.
Well, what you have to do is you have to get it signed by Linda Blair.
Yeah.
Once you get it.
Here's the problem. We didn't want to hear from Linda Blair's
Just sweet dreams to ruin the entire print.
We didn't want to hear from her lawyers.
Honestly,
we didn't want to. I don't want to be
fuck with
annoyed every
it.
time I look at it.
Has it been hard? I don't know if have we ever talked about that? Like we've talked about. I guess we probably did talk about it. Like Jake, The Exorcist is one of your favorite movies. Do you look at it differently after having that experience with her?
No,
Okay.
It's still great. I mean, maybe a little bit, but she's so young in that movie that it's still pretty easy to make that disconnect and not have to be like, oh, that's the person that yelled at me.
yeah.
Because she doesn't look anything like that.
She's doing good.
She's doing great.
She's-
No,
needs to
Linda
lighten
Blair's
up a
great.
little.
Her attitude is nasty. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
She's great. So big thanks to Brendan Pierce. If you want to check out that shirt, it's available in the shirt shop. I do like the leprechaun on the hoverboard. That tickles me to death. And Chucky's in there. There's all sorts of references in there. Lots of deep cuts.
My personal favorites are the 4 cats, represented all of my cats, Gypsy, Gizmo, and Undertaker and Jonesy. All 4 are like doing very interesting things at my feet in the picture. And I just love looking back and forth between the cats. It makes me really happy.
I had to bring up your feet.
I wonder, like,
Oh, I have shoes on. I have boots. I think I have boots on.
What, Jake?
this is I'm going to say this ahead of time. I don't want this to sound like a complaint. I have no complaints. I love the art, but I am curious why there are a few things on there, and I'm glad they're on there because it makes it funnier to me.
Okay.
But there are a few things on there that I feel like we have never spoken about.
Okay.
And that's unless I do have a pretty bad memory. Maybe there were some funny jokes at some point.
Right.
But there is a Homer Simpson on there.
Right.
I'm not sure we've ever talked about the Simpsons.
I briefly, maybe for one episode, talked about getting into them, but that love affair hasn't continued.
There is a Where's Waldo on there, which I love that he's dressed like Freddy Krueger. It makes no sense, but I think that's one. To me, the Where's Waldo is one of the funniest things on the print.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it makes absolutely no sense that it's there.
Right. Although I would love to see a Nightmare on Elm Street movie where the kid's dreaming and doesn't know and is looking at a Where's Waldo book and he finds Waldo and it's Freddy. Like,
whoa, Freddy! Ooh, a Where's Waldo book with slasher villains like hidden throughout would be pretty fun.
there you go. Jake, I agree. There's a couple deep cuts on there. Like I just assumed that the reason Alf was on there because we had Matt Provençal on the show one time.
I thought it was because of the
Provençal
cats.
talks about Alf so much in group therapy that it weaseled its way into our shirt.
It's now canon.
I love it. I like that it's there.
Do you hear? Are you good?
Yeah, I can hear. I like that. I think he's there because the cats are there.
Right. He might just be after the cats.
He's got the fork and knife and.
But Stay Puft with the yo-yo playing with the critters is great, and all sorts of good
And
stuff.
Alf is wearing a Seinfeld reference. Like,
Yep, he is. There's some deep cut Seinfeld references. So have fun with that. Thank you to everybody who bought the prints. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. I was surprised. I knew we were going to put it on a shirt, but immediately people were like, I want that on my wall. And I was like, people want us on their wall.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, it's not just us.
It's
I think it might be all the other stuff too.
They don't even realize that's us.
Yeah, well, that's what I think works about that print. Like, you don't even have to listen to the show to know that it's very cool.
Yeah, and in similar to most Ghostbusters fashion, no Winston. So
That's okay.
Just the three.
Well, there's no other Ghostbusters. You don't see Peter. The other stuff is kind of non-human.
Right.
So
there you go.
That seems to be the thing.
Hey, I want to take back what I said about my favorite thing being Where's Waldo Freddy, because I think my favorite thing is the fact that Slimer is about to put on the mask.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Wait, if Slimer put on the mask, would he just become a normal person? Like, what would the effect be? He would just be John Belushi. That's what would happen. It's great. It's great. It's available in the shirt shop now. Looks really good on the shirts are black. The print is on white, and really cool stuff. So thank you, Brendan. And also shout out to John Yerkeba, who has another shirt design, the Abigail Gardner special Let Her Buy Something.
Yeah.
Poltergeist inspired from the Friday night eBay hangs.
Yeah.
John Yerkeba has always done incredible work for us, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. I love the way he does my hair. When he draws it. That print's great. We dropped it during our eBay hang, and I guess it was the last one we did.
Yeah.
It was great reaction from people, and I love the way it looks. I definitely want that on a shirt.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And also shout out to me for putting all of those prints that we were just talking about in their slip covers and numbering them myself yesterday. So
I meant to help, but I walked away.
I'm like Jerry Gergich on Parks and Rec. When I'm doing busy work, it makes me very satisfied. It makes sense.
Yes. I was like, all right, I'll help, and then I just got on my phone for an hour.
And I was done.
Cool. So so many thank yous this week. Lots of catching up to do. Thank you so much to Trevor at NECA. So we had Trevor and Randy from NECA on a couple weeks ago, and they were super cool. Great interview. They're going to be revealing all of their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives starting next week. So we'll finally figure out what this Turtles set's going to be. And that's going to be a lot of fun. But we got a big box of stuff from NECA. So a bunch of figures, some of the retro-clothed Pennywise figures, a couple Godzilla figures, Mothra, really great stuff. I would say there's nothing better in the world than getting a big box of NECA figures. I can't
we made it. That's all. I feel like that was the goal.
Yeah, we can quit
just
now.
Get NECA to notice us. So.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely been like 3 years of Toy Fair reviews in a row where I've been like, hey, Jake, wouldn't it be cool if NECA just sent you some Godzilla figures?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was great.
How does it feel?
Yeah. So how do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? I was worried that, like, when I looked at it, I was like, I think Jake has all of this.
It was definitely a Jake package.
I was hoping he did.
I gotta check. It's possible I do have all the Godzilla stuff. I know I have most of that Godzilla stuff, but yeah, there's some stuff in there I don't have.
Yeah, I really like those. I like the NECA 8-inch Pennywises are like all of those 8-inch.
Hey, luckily those are the only. I think those are the only NECA Pennywises I haven't picked up. I've gotten all of the variants of the other, the non-clothed.
Yeah.
Like the Ultimates and all those.
There was some controversy. Apparently, the Comic-Con exclusive from last year, the statue Pennywise, has been showing up at Walmart.
Yeah, I saw it.
And according to NECA, they don't even know how that's happening. They don't even know what's going on. But
that wouldn't be the first weird thing with Walmart. Like,
God, I don't even want to.
Walmart stole those.
There's a good chance, yeah.
I'm
accusing Walmart of theft.
I'm sure everybody's expecting us. Like I'll say this: we are not going to be doing any coverage of the real Ghostbusters Walmart fiasco. Like, everybody knows about it. If you got them, great. If you don't, sorry. Like, if you got them and they're damaged, that sucks. But like, I just can't talk about it anymore.
Yeah, that ongoing crisis. There's other things going on in the world, so yeah, it's not. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I love the figures, so you just got to do what you got to do. Jake, you got yours, I got mine. I got a couple sets. Jake's got a couple sets. Maybe it's our fault that it's happening. I don't know. But anyways, Jake, did you see the new NECA Gremlin that's going to be coming out?
Are you talking about the exclusive one with the like promotional gremlin?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also like they got the Flasher gremlin, I think, just released. Which we knew was coming, but I think it's now officially like on NECA's eBay store. But then there is the other gremlin that is like it's based off of an image that was a promotional image before the movie came out. So he's got like, I think he's got, is it like a snorkel?
It's something like that
or something. He's holding like a torch. It's like, it's just, he's got like random accessories, you know, to match the promotional image. I will be.
That looks like a scuba diving like snorkel thing.
Yeah. But the box is like, it looks like the old like Olympic promo. It's very cool. It's very, very cool.
That is cute.
The box says, warning, don't take them to the swimming competition.
Dude, I'm taking that to the pool for a photo shoot.
Honestly,
I don't even have a pool.
Honestly, I just realized that the scene I want in whatever the next Gremlins movie is Gizmo. All right, so whoever whoever owns Gizmo is a lifeguard at a local pool. Mm-hmm. And Gizmo sneaks in with him.
I want to see a whole bunch of gremlins synchronized swimming.
Oh my God.
Just multiplying as they go.
That would be beautiful.
That seems like a very Gremlins 2 sort of thing.
Yeah. With the music
as
going.
they synchronize, they multiply and like butterfly out. That would
like
be
you
so
imagine
cool.
the music like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyways.
And they got little swim caps on.
Exactly.
That's what we want.
Should we record that?
We should
what
make
you just
that.
did?
We should just do that.
We are recording.
We are recording.
So we got it. Just
you
keep
do
it.
realize this
is recorded.
This is a recorded show, Abby.
Oh God, I thought this was a phone call.
You guys are going to be really upset when you find out that there's 5 years of audio on the internet and people have been listening to this nonsense. Jake, you mentioned when you got back in town that Chris Stewart had sent you a little package. Chris Stewart from the Ghostbusters Interdimensional Cross Rip podcast. Yeah,
I wanted to say thanks to Chris. I got home and had like a mystery package, and I was like, okay, what is this? It's from Canada. I know very few people in Canada. Opened it up, is from Chris Stewart. Got a like nice little note, and it's an issue of the Monster Times, which is like it's just this older. It's like a newspaper. It's a newspaper, but it's all like monster stuff. And it's got a cover. The cover is Destroy All Monsters, which is a Godzilla film. And it's got Godzilla stuff in it and other cool monster things. And it just looks really cool. And the funniest part about it is in the note, Chris said that he got it, but he just wanted it so he could get a scan of the front cover.
Okay.
And I think that's funny. And part of me didn't even think to ask, which I guess I'm weirdly asking you now, Chris, through the podcast, is that do you just have like an archive of a bunch of scans of magazine covers and stuff? Because if you do, I want to like flip through that.
Yeah.
That's the most Chris Stewart thing that a human being could have.
Yeah.
Right?
Scan collection.
But just the fact that you bought it, scanned it, and then you're like, oh, I don't want this. I just wanted
it's a more compact way of like having your collection.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I love this magazine and I think I'm going to maybe order some more. I remember having a couple of these when I was younger. There also used to be a Dinosaur Times, which was very similar, but it was like, exclusively dinosaur news and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm going to maybe order some more of these. I think Chris Stewart he did this on purpose because he knows that I'm going to start collecting them now.
So
cool.
I like the idea. This would probably save a lot of money. Instead of collecting toys, I'm just going to start collecting pictures of toys.
Yeah.
And
it's way cheaper.
Then all you got to do is buy a hard drive.
Yeah. Oh, wait. How much are those? Like $50? Never mind. I'll buy toys. Yeah. Chris is great. He didn't send me anything. So
yeah, thanks for nothing, Chris, from us. No, he sent us stuff before. We love you, Chris.
Chris is great. He's been running proton charging
His existence is a gift to everyone.
I agree.
Yeah,
for sure.
And just keep existing, Chris.
We should do like an infomercial for Chris Stewart where it's like,
I think we just did.
But like, I imagine like one of those like, I don't know, one of those commercials where they raise money for like pets or something. It's like for a small donation of $2.99 a month, you can help get magazine covers to Chris Stewart so he could scan them.
For the price of a cup of coffee. You can get Chris's scans.
Oh, we got some Sarah McLachlan going. I like that.
Well,
I like
if
that.
you're doing the commercial, that's got to go in the background.
Yeah, with like the close-up shots of Chris Stewart.
Crying.
Chris
Like
Stewart.
little tears.
Scanning magazines.
Chris Stewart has been fighting
Like
with
him looking at his scans but not having enough.
Wait, Chris Stewart has been fighting with Ghostbusters fans on the internet for longer than we've been alive.
What have you been doing? You can help Chris Stewart in the fight. Oh, he's a good guy.
He's the best. He's the best. Cool. So, and Chris was not when I did that little side special bonus episode of the podcast with just me and Troy from the crossover.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
Chris wasn't either, and neither was Jake. Apparently, me and Troy
We're all jealous.
We were all there.
Janices.
Everybody was mad at me. I was like, "Thanks, you're all being Karens."
Yeah.
Cool. So,
We actually got our hair cut.
yeah. Well, cool. That's awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Jake, we've alluded to your trip a couple times. You've been posting about it on social media. Jake did something none of us have been able to do. He went somewhere and saw movies in public. Jake, what was that like?
What was it like?
It was great, man. I went. Me and my good friend Becky went to. We went to a drive-in movie theater in Pennsylvania. They did like a 3-day zombie movie marathon thing, and we camped out. So we were there. We were at that for a couple days, and then we also like checked out some filming locations. We went and saw where they filmed Signs and Friday the 13th. It was great. It was like good to get away. And I was able to on the way home, I was able to like live a lifelong dream, and I witnessed somebody freaking out at the airport.
Oh
Whoa.
my! So this was
That's like a 10 fuck situation.
we were. I do want to ask you about the Friday the 13th stuff, but when Jake, you were on your way home, you're at the airport, and I think either I called you or you called me. We were on the phone, and all of a sudden, I just hear screaming in the background, and Jake just goes, "I have to go." And he hangs up, and I was like, Abby, Jake is he's
bleed.
People don't realize that the rare holy grail item that Jake has been chasing for years is witnessing somebody freaking out, specifically at an airport. Yeah. And you did it.
I did it. I was there for it. I captured part of it on video, and now it's all I want to collect.
It's like Pokemon Go.
Dude, come down to Hartsfield Jackson and hang out and just sit I imagine anywhere in that airport's stressful.
Jake just starts hanging out at airports by himself. It's like that movie, The Terminal. It's like, does he have to be there? No, he just wants to be.
It's like the autograph people, but like you're not collecting autographs, you're just filming freakouts.
Yeah, like there's like Bill Murray and like other high-powered celebrities are walking by as Jake's like, "Hey, is anybody freaking out on the plane? Can I get in there?"
Anybody see the Karen?
What was her deal? What was she freaking out about?
She was saying that somebody hit her. I could hear her yelling for security from the plane while I was like sitting at the gate, and she was claiming some woman hit her, and then that woman was like, "You just left your kids on the." It was like an altercation.
Okay, gotcha.
Sounds messy.
Yeah. So Jake hung up, and then like 10 minutes later, I think we talked. I was like, "Did you get it? Did you catch it? Are you putting it in a DTOF? Can you spare a DTOF square for this rare item?" Jake, before you left, you had mentioned that the Friday the 13th filming locations, specifically the camp, were kind of hard to access. So my question is, did you guys sneak in and were you caught?
No, you can't. You cannot get into the camp. It is a working camp, basically year round. They don't let anybody in. They're also still kind of in quarantine up there, so you can get to the entrance of the camp, but that's it. But then there are about 4 or 5 other locations from Friday the 13th. You can see there's a cemetery. There's this like specific weird old cool looking building that's featured in the movie. There's a diner, all of that stuff, which is still there and looks basically exactly the same. So we were able to do that, and we were able to go to the entrance of Camp Crystal Lake, but you can't get in.
That's so cool though.
Fun fact, the golf course I frequent is called Crystal Lake, and sometimes I pretend that I might get murdered. Hey, by the way, I just thought of a fun political cartoon. So if somebody could please draw this, this would be great. It's it's like a Walmart or an establishment, and Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers are walking in, but the guard is stopping Freddy Krueger, and he's got his hand pointed to a sign that says "Masks Required."
Okay.
That's fun.
I don't know.
Now we're having some fun.
It's political.
That's fun. That's funny, but don't start off by saying political cartoon.
Yeah, I
because you
almost
lose-
left. I literally
Yeah,
took my
I almost
headphones
hung up.
off.
Well, like a fun
You
commentary.
could just say cartoon.
Okay.
Like
You
a
just say
cartoon, an animated series where
You-
every episode they stop Freddy Krueger from going to Walmart.
Just a one-panel cartoon.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Those are called political cartoons. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not going to change
All right.
the name of
Yeah,
it.
we don't like
Glad to
it.
hear that.
Dark Feast Creations. I don't know what it is, but Jake pointed it to me, and they make great stuff. They're doing a Ghostbusters 2 thermal beverage mug and balloon. I'm sorry, I completely skipped. Jake, I meant to ask you, Maniac Cop, all three of them, were they great?
Yeah, let's.
I
The
just
first
skipped
one
over.
was
You cut Jake
first
off
one
to talk
was
about
great.
political cartoons.
Well-
Sorry, Jake.
The first one was great. The second one was I wouldn't call it great, but it was fun and it was weird and it confused me a little bit. The third one, I went to sleep.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, because I know how much it bothers you when Craig and I sleep through things. Did it stress you out to have to sleep through a movie that like you were at an event for?
Well, yeah. So I only had to miss. It's three. The thing is, like, it's three movies and they start kind of late. Starts at like 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
And then they have like 20-minute intermissions in between every movie. So
So that's when you
you know,
sleep. Just during those 20 minutes.
that third movie's not starting until like sometimes 1:30, something like that.
Yeah.
Right, it's pretty late.
The first night I missed the third movie, but I'd seen it before. The second night I stayed up for all three movies. The third night I went to sleep, but Maniac Cop 3 is available on Shudder.
There you go.
Tight.
We'll watch it on there.
Cool.
Very cool.
I Maniac Cop was one of the VHS covers as a kid that I was deathly afraid of when I walked through Blockbuster. Actually, I've told this story before. I would not turn my back to the horror aisle. I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but I knew I wasn't going to do it. Like,
Well, you didn't know what was going to happen. That's why you wouldn't turn your back.
In all those old VHS covers, like for April Fool's Day or any of those like weird one-off horror movies, those the cover art was awesome.
Yeah.
Usually much better than the movie. Well, cool, man. Jake, I'm glad you guys had a good time, and it sounded pretty awesome to be
Yeah.
out in the world.
Yeah, just to be
experiencing it.
out like doing something that everyone's engaged in at the same time. I bet that's cool.
And plus, I haven't been to a drive-in movie since I was like 7.
Yeah, it's been a while for me.
Yeah.
I saw Apollo 13 at the drive-in theater.
I've never seen like a really good movie at the drive-in.
Okay.
I saw Superbad, which I mean, it's a good movie, but it's not like. What are we saying?
I didn't even put because we'll talk about it next week. It's not even on this week's rundown. The Ninja Turtles reboot being done by Seth Rogen's production company.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next
At the
week.
time, I liked it. I remember I missed the beginning. And
Bullshit.
I was bummed.
Super bad rules. You're all wrong. Okay, cool. You don't like it?
No, I mean, I think it probably holds up. I like stories about friendship and coming of age and all that jazz, but like, I haven't seen it in a while, so
Cool.
we have to wait and see.
All right.
Rewatch it.
What I was saying earlier before I rudely interrupted myself, Dark Feast Creations is doing a Ghostbusters 2 thermal beverage mug and balloon. And Jake told me about it, and I bought one.
Good.
That's my whole story.
Well done.
Wow.
But I did want to give them a plug because they're really cool. So go to darkfeastcreations.com. They've done some other stuff. They did a little bust of Egon Spengler and some other really cool Ghostbusters items. They do like the ESP cards and a couple other things. So I'm excited to get my thermal beverage mug. Now, Jake, you own a thermal beverage mug that came from the Ghostbusters community. And you were telling me that Dan Harshman did a review of the new one, and he says the new one's better.
I don't think he said it in those words.
I think that's what exactly
pointing
what
out
he
a-
said to me. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't watched what Dan said.
I think he was pointing out a couple things that he liked and a couple things that were different between this one and the other one. I really love my Ghostbusters 2 mug made by Fernando. A lot of people, that's all you need. Everybody knows who Fernando is.
I've always been jealous of that.
He's the scarf wearer. He did a run of these a couple years ago, and it was a very, very small run, and I was lucky enough to get one, and I bring it. I use it a lot. I love it. But then when I saw that there was another one and it's like slightly different, I was like, I need that too. I just love the promotional things. I love the mug. I want it. And I now want to get the one they actually released, the one that's not accurate.
The black one. That's like the one I have.
Black one, yeah. I want to pick one of those up, and so I'll have a little collection of just Ghostbusters 2
thermal beverage.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, by the way, for one thing, the scarf wearer sounds like a Nicholas Sparks book.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good. The scarf wearer.
I like that.
Did you see him?
He's got like the unending scarf thing coming out of his pocket.
But Jake, you there he goes. Jake, you carry this damn thermal beverage mug with you in the DragonCon parade every year, and I'm always mad because I always
it makes for a great photo. Like no matter what you're doing, if you're holding
good.
it, you always look cool.
It looks good, and it
Never
makes it
a
where I don't
weird
have
moment.
to wave it.
Yeah.
You will never find Jake in a parade waving at somebody. Not once. I dare you to find a picture of Jake waving at somebody. or chanting along. Yeah. Usually
talking to kids.
Engaging with children.
God.
Jake's like, hey, Jake's ideal DragonCon parade is nobody but him just walking down the street.
No,
I want people looking at me.
I'm just
you
kidding.
stop.
I'm stopping.
It's not a parade if it's just you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just don't know what a parade is.
You don't know
then.
the rules of parades.
I'm just mad because I'm just going to say it. Every year, we're not even going to have DragonCon this year.
I was thinking about that.
It looks like. No, every time the DragonCon parade pictures come out, I'm always mad because, first of all, I'm usually the one taking a lot of the pictures, so I'm usually not in them. And you two, specifically Jake, I've told this story before, but Jake, when you had that black uniform from before we knew you with the white patches on it, was that a thing you had?
White patches? No. I had a black uniform that had like it was a black uniform, but it had like gray accents.
Yeah,
on it.
they were gray. When I first saw that picture, I was
good.
like, who the fuck? This guy looks so cool. Who is this?
He is.
I was like,
I kind of like Fernando was doing that. He was doing a lot of those different color suits like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then the video game, came out, and those kind of suits are in the video game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a case of, oh, I have a black jumpsuit. This jumpsuit's the wrong color. What should I do? Oh, I'll just like make it one of those two-tone suits.
Yeah. But I remember specifically being like, because I was building at the time like my shitty slime blower that wasn't very good. And I was like looking at the GB fans boards and I like saw those pictures. And I saw the picture of you and I was like, God, this guy's from Georgia. Fuck. He's probably mean. That's what I thought. He's probably going to be mean to me.
Yep.
He's probably going to hate my slime blower. But we've talked about that before. It's we all create stories in our head, like Jake when you thought the Georgia Ghostbusters wouldn't let you in because you didn't have a Legos.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of that, Andrew Schaefer pointed out in the image we were talking about earlier, Abby's the only one with the Legos.
Wow.
Oh, weird.
So
okay.
So it's probably
in our image for the Yes Have Some podcast image. I was thinking I had because we watched Answer the Call the other day when you said Abby with the Legos. I was thinking of Abby Yates.
You heard your name and you thought it was Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it. Out of the three of us, if we were doing a photo shoot, who of the three of us who, if we had to pee, would not want to hold it?
Me. I'd probably need a leg hose.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes sense.
Okay, cool. We'll move on. Great work from Dark Feast Creations. I'm excited to get that. So, Jake, thank you for pointing it out. Okay, cool. So let's talk about Ghostbusters Day for a few minutes. I think a lot of people had kind of gotten their hopes up that we were going to get some stuff, maybe a new trailer for Afterlife, a new poster, still images. I think the three of us, I think in the back of our heads, we all kind of knew it probably wasn't going to happen because it's just too early at this point. The movie doesn't come out for 8 months, but Abby just knocked over her microphone. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Jake, Ghostbusters Day, not much happened. They did do the announcement that they were going to be re-releasing Ghostbusters in theaters this week. Had a little special message at the front. Turned out to be just a little behind-the-scenes featurette. Personally, I'm okay with this stuff just because it would have been great to get a trailer now, but I think that would also be kind of a bummer because it's going to be more fun to get that trailer with a couple months leading up to the movie. That's my personal opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's too early for another trailer. It would be cool. I would be cool with like maybe if they released a couple photos, because that way it's easier to pick what you're showing off, and it's easy to throw a tease out there of a photo and not give too many spoilers away. That would be something cool that I think they maybe could have done, but I wasn't expecting a trailer at all. It, like you just said, I feel like it's much too. The movie's not coming out until March. It's just too far away.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and people kind of been conditioned to because originally Ghostbusters Day was going to be the day they did the Reunited Apart. Josh Gad stuff.
It's kind of like the quarantine and the other the things that are happening, the protests and stuff are kind of like, they made it to where, they pushed Ghostbusters Day back rightfully, and they went ahead and released the Ghostbusters Apart, which was a very cool thing, but that was your Ghostbusters.
That was
Day
the main
stuff.
thing, right?
So, so it made it to where the day there wasn't really anything new, which whatever, it's fine. We're like living in a weird time right now, and
it's a weird time to celebrate anything. Like, it
didn't work out. The timing didn't work out right, and so there was just not a whole lot. Which whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. Abby, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, you could go and listen to our bonus episode if you're a patron, where you and I were speculating about how great it would be to listen or to see a trailer or to see some bonus content. So yeah, I guess I kind of built my hopes up.
What bonus episode?
Jake, we did a little tiny bonus episode.
You guys do a bonus
do we have to
episode?
talk about this now? Jake,
I quit.
Hey, by
Please
the
don't
way,
quit.
everything I said in it, it's all irrelevant now because I was like, guys, I think we're getting a trailer.
well, first of all, I know Craig was going to do it on his own, so I sat in on it and I made myself known. And Jake, I miss you. I'm sorry. Come on, let's do a bonus episode. We're doing a bonus episode after this, so to all of our patrons, look forward to that. It's great content. What was I talking about? It's a weird time to celebrate stuff. I built myself up for a lot of for something, which is pretty normal for as a Ghostbusters fan to be like, maybe something great will happen. And then nothing really came out. But I personally, it goes back to the long distance relationship thing we're in with Afterlife. It's weird, but we know we have to wait. We know that we love Afterlife very much and they love us, but we're apart right now, and it's going to be a few months, 8 months. Yeah.
And I think, I think the thing everybody is wanting to see is that first shot of Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd.
I don't want to see it.
Jake doesn't want to see it. Jake, talk about that.
I don't know. I don't want to ruin that, man. It's Ghostbusters 3. We know that's going to be there. We know we're going to see Bill. Why ruin that out of context and out of just give us I just want to watch the movie.
So you don't even want to
save yourself for it. Yeah.
I would love to see another trailer, sure, but I want the new trailer to show us not much more than the last trailer did.
Right.
You can cut another trailer and still keep things very vague. Mm-hmm. Give us a tiny bit, but I don't want to see the 4 guys in there. I just don't want to see that yet. Right. I want to see that in a movie theater.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Abstinence. Afterlife abstinence. Let's wait.
Wait
till it's right.
I like that. I mean, it is a bummer, and I didn't want to be the one to say this, but the original release date was July 10th, so that's a week from today. Yeah. So we it would have been now, but it's not going to be, and that's fine. We're all willing to wait. We've waited 30 years, another 8 months probably won't kill us. It might, but I agree. I think still images out of context it would be cool, but it would be I don't want to see Peter Venkman after this much time in that context. Like in a trailer, I'd accept it and be happy about it. I want to see it in the movie. I'm ready to sit down.
Yeah, it would almost cheapen it. You want that the right way.
Yeah,
I think.
There was a couple things announced throughout the day. Actually, there wasn't. The main announcement was the Campfire Marshmallows did come out and say they will be officially putting out Ghostbusters Marshmallows, which we kind of figured. But there's the Plasmane, what do you call it? My Little Pony crossover figure with Ghostbusters. And listen, it's not going to be for everybody. I get it. My favorite, though, we posted about it. We got the press release. And Jake, I don't know if you saw this, but apparently there's like a couple hardcore My Little Pony fans who've got some major issues with the design of the new pony.
There's no like brushable hair that they would prefer it be real or synthetic.
Yeah. So, but it's cool. I listen, it's a fun crossover. Hasbro's going to do that. It's not just Ghostbusters. Hasbro owns the brands. It doesn't, some people will buy it, some won't. That's fine. It's not my 100% go-to, but am I going to get one? Yeah. Am I going to get 3 or 4? Probably.
Yeah.
I'm sick in the head. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But really there wasn't a whole lot of other announcements besides that. So as far as predictions of when that second trailer is going to come out, my educated guess would be the holidays.
Yeah.
Sometime in December.
Yeah. Between Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah. Just like the last one. Because the movie comes out in March. So, 3 or 4 month they're going to have to reignite the marketing at some point. They're going to have to kind of, the engines have kind of cooled and they're going to have to get people excited and ready to see a new Ghostbusters movie. But there's still a lot up in the air. Movie theaters are kind of not really open yet. There's no new movies coming out yet. Yeah. So
we're here to keep you excited. So
yes.
That's our purpose.
Yes. Jake, anything else on Ghostbusters Day before we move on?
No. There's just not a lot. I mean, there just wasn't anything. So.
Right. Not a lot. The preview, the 9-minute special thing that's been playing with the Ghostbusters re-release at drive-ins, it did leak online. We're not going to share it because I don't really like doing publicly sharing leaked stuff, but I saw it though. I mean, it was the same introduction from the 35th anniversary from last year, which you haven't seen. It is really cool. And then there was like a 3-minute featurette with Ivan and Jason that was actually really cool. And it was nice to see them interact. It's always great to see those two. I want Jason and Ivan to start a podcast together. I think that would be great.
Yes.
Just
100%.
Just reviewing episodes of Real Ghostbusters. It'd be so stupid. But it was like kind of what you would see like on a DVD. Like I cannot wait to get the DVD with all the behind the scenes features of this movie once it happens. So it's out there. If you go see Ghostbusters this weekend, have fun, be safe, all of that. It is playing here. Our drive-in theater is doing a double feature tonight with Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day. And I would be lying if I said I didn't want to go.
I don't know why we're not going. We said it was because of Hamilton, but we were already watching Hamilton. It's paused.
Whoa.
Hold on. Did we just out ourselves as Hamilton fans over Ghostbusters, Bill Murray fans?
You're not going to go see Ghostbusters in a drive-in for fucking Hamilton?
Time out.
We're not throwing away our shot, Jake.
Time out. Yes, Hamilton was released on Disney Plus today.
Yes, it's paused right now on the TV in front of me.
We've watched a little bit of it, but not once those words never came out of my mouth where I said, we're not going to see Ghostbusters.
Yes, they did. You literally said, but Hamilton comes out.
Did I say that?
So it's going to be like an investment.
Oh, well.
We could watch Hamilton
will still be there tomorrow.
And still go see Groundhog Day.
It will
at
be
midnight.
Just as bad tomorrow when you watch.
Stop, Jake. It is so good.
Anyways, go see Ghostbusters, have fun, live your life, celebrate the 4th of July, all that stuff. And happy Ghostbusters Day.
Or watch Hamilton, whatever you want to do.
Ghostbusters Days, it's always Ghostbusters Day in my house.
That's the thing.
I'm like Pete Mosen. I'm part of every franchise. Hey, everybody. Craig here. Thank you so much for checking out Yes Have Some this week. I wanted to tell you about the exclusive Yes Have Some audio content that you can get on our Patreon page. That's going to be patreon.com/yeshavesome. For $5 a month, you're going to be getting exclusive access to our weekly, we're doing weekly audio bonus content now, 15, 20, 25 minutes every week after the regular podcast drops. You can head over to Patreon, and it's going to be brand new discussion topics, things we're not covering on the main podcast feed, bonus fuck budgets, things that maybe we don't want to talk about on the main feed that we want to save for exclusive access to all of our Yes Have Some Patreon members. Now, it's only $5 a month, and that goes directly to the podcast for our hosting fees, our website costs, things like that. And we're going to be providing you extra audio content every single week, plus a monthly full bonus episode where we break down a movie or an old TV show. And we'll probably do more than that. So we're just kind of getting started with Patreon. We want to make sure that everybody gets a lot out of it. So head over to patreon.com/yeshavesome and sign up today. We appreciate the support. Now, back to the show. All right, moving on. I sent you guys this article. And this is this is kind of there's not a whole lot in the news, but we're all toy collectors, and I thought this article was interesting. I thought it'd be a fun discussion topic to kind of carry us through the second half of the show here. Hold on one second. Cool. This article came out. It's about this guy who is the article was from The Guardian. I can't remember who posted it in group therapy, but I suggest we'll post the link. I want everybody to read this, but the article is titled, "I Bought These Items and I Couldn't Stand Them. Inside the Mind of a Batman Collector." TLDR, the article is about a guy who throughout the 90s had an obsession where he would buy anything with Batman, anything from the Batman movies, 89, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, all that stuff. And he amassed this huge collection. It turned into a real problem for him, like a real addiction. And he was so distraught and like defeated after the release of Batman and Robin being so disappointing that he kind of, I don't know, I read it a couple days ago. What did he do? Did he just like
stop? That's what made him stop.
I have the quote because I loved it so much. He says, it says he quit because he was deeply offended by the quality of Batman and Robin, which is awesome. And at first I was like, I kind of felt bad for this guy because I read the text in the article before seeing the pictures. And then I saw his collection. And I was like, fuck, I don't feel bad for this guy. He's got an awesome collection. But also like, I guess there's, I kind of... But it's a weird thing. Like it's a weird perspective of like what is too much and when is it unhealthy and when is it also just very healthy to collect toys.
Right, but it went on to talk about how he's quit collecting toys in the sense that he felt like he had to, like it was an addiction. He cannot go on eBay. He calls eBay a no-fly zone. eBay is a liquor store for him, basically, or a drug den, which I actually agree with. Like I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, but I feel like it's all about moderation, like of whatever it is, whatever you're doing.
Right. So
some people can't control that, though.
Yeah.
Is what it
well,
is.
I understand that.
Yeah, I think we're all here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it's a great article and it's interesting, and it made me kind of think of a couple different takes on this, which is the first is the thought of this guy's a huge Batman fan, and then he's so offended by Batman and Robin he just stops. And I was trying to relate it to like, okay, maybe as a huge Ghostbusters fan, maybe are there people out there that were just so taken aback and distraught with what Answer the Call was that they just stopped being a fan? To me, it seems like all of these franchises, there's so many different versions of everything. You got to pick and choose. You can't love all of it. So maybe this guy had some other issues that weren't really with Batman and Robin, but maybe like, I don't know. Jake, what did you think of the article when you read it?
I mean, I don't know, man. I think like you can't put it on Batman and Robin because clearly the dude's got some issues otherwise happening. If you're collecting toys or doing anything to a point where it's like becoming bad for your mental state and you're going broke because of it, that's like a real life, like it's funny because it's toys, but that's like a real life thing. And that's a issue that stems deeper than just Batman and Robin. So
Yeah, that's a
even
mental
though
health issue.
like he thought Batman Forever was fine, and I do think Batman Forever is. I'm not saying that Batman Forever is bad like Batman and Robin, but like the between those two movies, it's like not.
It's not
that
such a
big
far
of a difference, you know.
Right.
So it's like, so it's like, oh, okay, this one ruined it for you. All right, it's weird, dude. It's weird. Like it's you know, I don't know, man. It's like it's such a big collection, and the fact that he was able to stop, though, I mean, like, I guess that says something. Like it.
Yeah.
Some people aren't able to stop.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what it says? He's not a real Batman fan.
I think that's what it says. Yeah, for sure. He's not a real fan.
Jake, I agree with you. I mean, I commend the guy for realizing that his passion had become an unhealthy addiction. Abby, what was your take on this?
I mean, I understand that, like, as someone, you know, with a former addictive personality, like, you know, recovering alcoholic, I understand what it's like to go through not being able to stop doing something and facing it and then making a change. So I applaud him for realizing that it wasn't healthy for him. I know it's all fun and games to laugh because it's a Batman
Well, I'm not
collection.
laughing at him.
Well,
I
I
mean,
was earlier, but kind of it's what we're still, yes, have some podcast.
Okay.
But the thing that stuck out to me in this article is one of the last paragraphs was talking about how important the community of collectors was to this guy and how feeling like he had a family and friends to share pictures of his collection and his ongoing collecting habits with people. Like that's something that we do at Yes Have Some and that connects all of us and that I think is the most important like thoroughfare through all of this is that we have a community where we're all talking about these things that we love and obsess over. And I think it's very healthy to have a positive distraction like a movie or like collecting toys. I literally was talking to my therapist about this week about how like those habits are really good and sharing them with other people can do a lot of good in building your network and helping you recover from things. So I applaud that. And I think that that's very cool. And it's good that he isn't on eBay if it's not good for him. But I'm jealous of his chocolate Batmobile in his refrigerator because that's very, very cool. It sounds like he had a lot of edible stuff that was like crossover merchandise that I'd love.
It's like I want to reach out to him and be like, hey man, I know you went through a lot, but tell me about all the Batman cereal you had. Like, are you selling it now or can I get my hands on it?
That's the thing we're all thinking. It's like, is he going to sell it?
Listen, the reason I wanted to bring up this topic specifically is because obviously we're all toy collectors. And I think, if you're in group therapy and you've been, you talk to all the we all deal with various levels of like life is hard, right? We all go through stuff. And like, I would tell anybody that collecting toys and being a hobbyist is something that centers me and it brings me tons of joy. But I would be lying if I said I didn't spend too much money on toys. Like, of course I do. I hope I never cross into a path where it's like, hey, they're taking the keys from the house, and I'm like, well, they can't have my detox.
Well, that's the difference. I think money. So like people might say, hey, you're spending money or where do you get all this money? You know what? Money is money. It's a made up thing. There will be more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can spend your money and you can still like comfortably live like a life, then who the fuck cares? Like, I don't care how much money you spend on the stupidest shit possible. Like someone might collect something and I think it's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
But if that person can like feed themselves and pay their bills, who cares?
Right.
Yeah. It's like a positive way to occupy your headspace and to make checklists
That
and
money's
go to stores.
fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like money's fake. Like it's like you're gonna get if you have a job, you'll get more of it. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much.
And honestly, I want to talk to the person who fucking set up. I want to know who set up like the financial system of our country. Tell me what's his name, man.
Alexander Hamilton.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that just happened.
We're sorry, Jake. Are you
Holy
still
shit.
here? Did
Okay.
you leave?
Jake, I completely agree with you, man. Like it's all about knowing what your own limits are, knowing what your own boundaries and budgets are. But
Yeah, looking in the mirror, checking yourself, making sure what you're doing is not destructive and
right. And like somebody had brought up in like the in Facebook about the eBay hangs, like how do you guys do these? Like it's not about, it's more about community than anything. And if
it's not about the money we spend, it's about the time we spend together.
Yes,
that's what I always say on our eBay hangs.
The toys.
But also, if you know how to budget yourself, then you can have money to spend.
Right.
Like
True.
that's it. Like I've had people straight up ask me before, like, how do you afford? Like, how can you? I buy a lot of shit. How can you afford it? Well,
I work.
I have a job.
Right.
I have a
like 2
job,
jobs.
and I don't. I pay my bills. I don't have a car or a house that I can't pay for. You know what I mean? It's like,
what if I
learn how to
Jake?
I don't
learn
buy
how to
clothes
budget
and I don't buy
yourself, and
booze.
you'll have money to spend.
I'm gonna edit the episode. I'm gonna edit where you just said I don't have a car or a house and just cut it from there. I don't have a car or a house.
And then put in the money is fake. Jake logic, dropping knowledge.
Money is fake.
This episode, I turn into a conspiracy theorist.
Money is fake. I don't have a car. I don't have a house. I love it.
But we do have some great Godzilla NECA figures. Thank you again.
Yes. You know what? That's really what life is about.
So this leads me to a couple prompts I have for you guys. Just fun discussion here. Jake, I don't know if I've ever asked you this. When did like having toys transition to like collecting toys for you? Like at what point in your life was it like, oh, I'm not buying these to play with, I'm buying these to put on a shelf and I'm going to be getting more and like start documenting an actual collection?
I mean, I definitely I want to say probably around middle school, I stopped playing with toys. Maybe elementary, late elementary school, whatever. I stopped for a long time. I didn't buy toys, but I always hung on to the Godzilla stuff and the Jurassic Park stuff and the Ghostbusters stuff that I already had. And my mom has a picture somewhere of my bedroom when I was in middle school. And I have you can see a shelf of toys. And I'm I wasn't playing with toys then, but I owned them and I kept them because they were things I liked. But that stuff went into storage for a long time. It didn't display for a long time. And then when I got out of high school, I always bought stuff, but I wasn't I bought it if I could, if I saw something I liked, but I wasn't actively looking for things. But then when I got out of high school, when I started tattooing about 10 years ago, and I started getting I remember my very first paycheck, I went to Toys R Us.
Yeah.
I
Very
love that.
first paycheck from tattooing, I went to Toys R Us with it. And literally since then, that was when I started getting hardcore about collecting things.
Right.
Yeah.
I had stuff laying around, but that was when I started really
Adult
becoming
collecting.
Right.
Yeah.
When you can cash that paycheck and go to Toys R Us, that's got to be top 5 best moments of your life. Because I have a moment like that.
I'll remember it, bro.
Yeah. I wish you, God, why didn't we have a documentary film crew there with Jake?
Yeah.
I want to see what you were buying. I want to see those toy aisles.
That's my wonder.
I bet you I bought some. God, I bet I bought some mini mates or something. I think Ghostbuster mini mates were a thing. Was that a thing 10 years ago?
I mean, dude, you know what? This is going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
This probably was longer than 10 years ago. Dude, 10 years ago was when Matty Collector Ghostbusters started.
Oh.
It was probably.
Yeah,
had to
it
be
wasn't
longer.
long. Yeah, it wasn't long after I started working. I think that's kind of part of what kickstarted it. Was Matty Collector started coming out, and I bought the subscription to Matty Collector, so I was getting those Ghostbuster figures once a month.
Right. I mean, I've always collected my entire life. Even when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, the biggest thing with my toys or whatever I had was having shelves to display them on. My thing was, and you guys, anybody who knows me knows this, I change directions very quickly. And I go
the same as you change songs when you're listening to them in the car.
Yes.
I've noticed that.
I've never
noticed
finished
that.
I think it's called 80.
I'll be like, hey Craig, let me let you hear this song. 20 seconds of it, and then he shuts it off, and I'm like, okay.
It is infuriating.
Well, let's listen to a different one, I guess.
It shows no respect for the artist. You know? You can't just stop and not finish things.
Holy shit, I'm getting called out so hard.
God, take a road trip with Craig. It is frustrating.
I've never
Bring
finished
headphones.
Okay, cool. Well,
Cool.
and
I guess we'll listen to this entire Floral Mass album though.
Let's do the whole thing.
while we run out of gas.
Floral Mass while we run out of gas and miss our fucking turn. Oh my God, are we having a fight? We're not even on vacation.
I like this.
I do too.
This feels good.
Are we talking about our collecting habits still?
I always collected stuff when I was a kid. I was huge into sports cards, basketball cards, and toys. As soon as eBay became a thing in like 97, 98, like I found some old real Ghostbusters stuff. I collected wrestling figures, mostly Jack's wrestling figures, mint on cards starting in 7th and 8th grade. So my entire wall in my bedroom was covered with mint on card wrestling figures almost all throughout high school. And then I realized like, hey man, if on the off chance you were to ever have a date or a girl or even a friend, another human being step into your room, they're not going to be cool with this. Like, I'm not going to be able to be like, now this Steve Austin has the vest. Now, if you notice, it says Austin 316, but it's actually not accurate. Like I kind of went through that like identity crisis of like having to kind of suppress my actual interests.
Self-awareness, yeah.
It sucked.
Want to fit
it
in.
really sucked because I didn't like it. I packed up all my wrestling figures and like sold them. But what happened was I ended up, I really went hard on collecting DVDs. Like that was my thing for 5 or 6 years. Like Jake, you talk about the paycheck thing. Like when I was 14, I got a paycheck. I immediately went, it was the first day that Phantom Menace came out on DVD. I bought the special edition. Like I remember a friend of mine who I worked with was like, dang, you're allowed to buy DVDs with your paycheck? I was like, it's my money. Also, my mom's the manager and I get paid more than you. Sorry. Yeah, I've always collected. But the interesting thing was I sold all my DVDs. I really did not have any money to my name in like late teens, early 20s. Like, just
Who does? I didn't.
yeah, I didn't have any money. Like whatever money I had for my job went to whatever bills I had, and that I had no disposable income for anything else. And like when me and Abby first were like hanging out and stuff, like I had 3 toys on my shelf. I had a mint on card random Batman figure from like Walgreens or something that was just like a random thing. I had one Maddie collector, the Egon with the stacked books. Mm-hmm. And I had a Jack Osborne statue.
Yep. And you had like a Seinfeld puffy shirt that came with like the DVD box.
Yeah.
Which I remember thinking that was pretty cool.
Like
I looked past your Family Guy collection and was like,
I did. It wasn't I just had the DVDs. It wasn't a collection. Hey, should I you want to shit on me a little bit more?
yeah, this is the episode where we bully Craig.
Yeah. All right, Abby, how about your collecting habits?
All right, for me, just like Jake, there's pictures of like my Little Pony collection. I used to do their hair and line all of my Little Ponies up on my dresser. I probably had like somewhere, like not 100, but like a pretty good amount, like 30, 40, 50, maybe. I was getting them for several years. I had a pony birthday party, which was pretty tight. So yeah, My Little Pony I was always kind of in that collector mentality. I liked the idea of amassing things that make me happy and then putting them up somewhere where I can look at them and not necessarily like play with them every day. And I did have certain ponies that were like my ponies that their hair was all jacked up because I loved them so much. But yeah, moving on from there, like I collected Pogs and stuffed animals and Beanie Babies. I did American Girl doll. I was into Felicity and like getting all the fucking accessories for that stuff. Littlest Pet Shop. So yes, it's always been there, like from childhood for me to find things that like I wasn't always action figures, like that wasn't necessarily what I loved. I always have had like memory boxes though that I would keep under my bed with like mementos and things from experiences that I went through that made me happy. So that carries on to when I go to a flea market or a toy fair or toy show nowadays. I like to find like movie poster related stuff or like little like a press kit or something like that. I like little tidbits of nostalgia that comes from my collecting.
You and Jake both like Jake, obviously you love action figures, but you also love promo items and anything related to the movie. That's Abby. That's like your number one
it's
thing.
Like I need a piece of it that I can take home with me, like the aggro crag, and I can look at and it reminds me of the event, and I'll treasure it and dust it and keep it on my shelf. I always had stuff like that on my shelf, little things like that.
But you go hard too. You'll get into something and that becomes your thing.
Yeah.
Like Jake, I feel like you're more consistent, like with your interests, where it's like Godzilla, horror, Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles. My only other question for you guys is at what point, Jake, and this is kind of like, I feel like I'm interviewing you guys. This is very fun. When did your collection become like, oh, this is taking over a whole room in my house? And what I know, I feel so much pride about my toy room, but have you ever had that thing where like somebody else comes over and they really just don't get it? And it's kind of like awkward.
You're talking about parents.
Parents. It's a lot of times it's your parents. It's a friend. Like when people don't understand like the collecting habits, like people who get it, right? So like,
but some people, when they say things like, oh, you're scaring me. This is like, it's like, I don't know it's like they're intimidated by the fact that they can't identify what most of it is or any of it.
Well, what I want to say to those people is like, hey, I'm way happier than you. Like your life is awful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How's The Bachelor?
Exactly. Anyways, I guess there's not really
okay.
A
So, for me, I know I'd like to know when Jake's point was, because Craig, I think you and I had the same moment. We both lived in Raleigh. We were renting one room out of this guy's house, and then we had to rent a second room for our collection as it started to grow. So that was kind of like the pivotal point.
Well, part of that is because I didn't want him to get another roommate.
I didn't want another roommate.
I didn't sick of sharing the bathroom. So I was like, let me rent out another room for my 10 Ghostbusters toys.
So Jake, when did you feel that you needed, or when did you have a room basically?
I mean, it was basically not long after that 10 years ago, after I got that first paycheck. I had already had a good bit of just random stuff from having throughout the years. But as soon as I had like steady money coming in and like a good job, I started spending most of that money like on toys and stuff. And at the time I lived in a really small 1-bedroom apartment with a dog and one other person. So it got cramped really quick, and we moved out into a bigger place, and the place we got was big enough that I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to put all my toys in this room. And it just quickly turned into, and like, I still see like every now and then it'll be in my Facebook memories, like pictures of my collection from about 10 years ago. And I'll look at it, and, you know, and at the time it was impressive, and some people will still think it was impressive, but when I look at it now compared to what I have now, I'm like, this is a little baby collection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean,
we have pictures from our first, like that room I was referencing. I'll have to put them in our story at some point.
The thing is that the collection, this is the scary part. Well, we'll wrap up on this notion. Like, it's never over. You're never finished. You might finish a line of toys, but Jake, your house is, there's not a part of your house that isn't dedicated to your collection in some level. And it's the same with us.
I'm assuming at some point I'll be able to have one of those houses that I can just charge people admission to come. It'd be like a little museum or something.
Right.
Because it basically already is that.
Exactly. I mean, Jake, your house, when you walk into your house, it's impressive because it's like immediately, once you get past the kitchen, it's just like, here's an incredible Stephen King book collection. And here's, we did a whole, actually, by the way, if you go to our YouTube channel, there's a whole toy room tour. That's Jake's whole house, basically, which was a ton of fun to do. Yeah. But yeah, it's never over. And the thing I'm starting to realize as my toy room fills up and it spills over a little bit, it might come to a day where I have to make some cuts, where I have to say, like, there's just certain things that I don't want to get rid of, but they're not going to stay on display, and I'm going to have to put them.
Well, you're already backpedaling on things that you said you'd never collect. Like when you said you've made statements about not doing G.I. Joe, and now you're getting the Street Fighter G.I. Joe stuff.
I've got one.
Well, He-Man's now a part of our world, which I'm very grateful. I love He-Man and Stinkor.
I'm surprised I'm as into Masters of the Universe as I am right now. I'll save that for another week because I could go on and on about it.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is Masters of the Universe Matty Collector figures are not like Ghostbusters Matty Collector figures. They are very expensive. They are actually unaffordable, is what I will say. They're insanely expensive. But the collection is growing, and then like as your interests grow, and also when we went and toured Bobby 80s collection, like I feel like Jake and I had a heart-to-heart that night. It was the most serious conversation we ever had. I was like, dude, we need to get our act together.
Yeah.
Like this.
That was the night you guys were reborn as toy collectors.
I was a reborn toy collector.
Yeah.
I thought I had a good collection. And you know what? We got back from Bobby 80s and I just burned our house down. I was like, this is awful.
Yeah, you asked Bobby 80s into your heart.
I did. But here's the thing. The part of the fun. Yeah, he
accepted Bobby 80s.
Oh, accepted Bobby 80s as my savior. This is fun. Reborn toy collector.
Oh, never.
That we're gonna put that on
another
shirt.
one like it.
Listen, part of the fun. We all started with this article that we were talking about. Part of the fun of the community is being inspired by your fellow collectors, whether it's the way they display things or different toy lines they collect or learning about things you didn't know. That was the fun of going to Bobby 80's house, of like seeing Ghostbusters stuff that we never even knew existed. And that's why I love being a collector, because it's almost like it's a constant treasure hunt. And like, what's more fun than a treasure hunt? I love it.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm feeling inspired.
Oh yeah, it's the appeal of Animal Crossing, and I'm not going to go into or explain that game, but those who play it will understand the collecting mentality of like chasing after things and hunting for things, and once you find out this exists, you know you need it. Yeah, that's what makes it awesome.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. Well, listen, guys, we're gonna wrap up. Thank you for joining us this week. You can let the conversation carry on in our official Facebook group. Yes, have some group therapy. Abigail, let's hear your new version.
It's edited because nobody has to turn any computers on or log into anything because that's already done. Just search. Go ahead and search for Yes Have Some Podcast Group Therapy on Facebook. You'll find our group. Ask to join. Either myself, Craig, or Jake will accept you. And from there, you can post quality content, no memes. Go ahead and talk about what we talk about on the show or how you're celebrating this weekend if you're watching Jaws or like swimming. I'll be jealous if you're swimming somewhere because I don't have a pool. But yeah, just post good stuff that's quality, a good conversation starter stuff.
Yeah, I want to hear more about people's collections. I want to be inspired by like other people's like displays and stuff. I want to know what's going on out there. Jake, my last question for you is: did you see the video of the giant bird who picked that shark up out of the ocean?
No.
Oh my God!
It's insane.
You should watch it right now.
It's insane. It's this big bird that's flying over the ocean, and it picks up a shark and flies away.
It teams up with a shark.
It does not team up with it. It definitely.
It looks like they're like
has poor intentions for this poor shark. Well, everyone go watch that. That's your homework.
It's so cool.
Jake, anything else before we sign off?
No, I think that's it. It was a good episode.
It was good.
Yeah, dude.
I had a good time.
You
Good
got
stuff.
a video to watch. You got your big fight at the airport.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. Listen, everybody, we are going to be having some fun on Patreon over the next couple weeks. More bonus content, more stuff that we want to talk about on the podcast, but maybe is more reserved for a little bit of a paying audience. So
behind closed doors.
Yeah, YHS Uncensored. Listen, if you want to get on that, go to patreon.com/yeshavesome. We absolutely adore our patrons. We thank you for the support.
We hate you? Were you about to say we hate you?
We hate you.
No, we love you. Oh my. I think I'm like blurring out here.
You're good.
We love you. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel and buy a popcorn maker from Uncanny Brands because it's so cool.
Yes, if you want to see Abby pitching a Captain America popcorn maker, that's now available as well. Well, listen, thank you, everybody.
Enough with the ads.
It's so fun though.
Dude, this is the thing, man. When
we put them all at the end, we're very courteous.
The longer you podcast, the more it's like you got to start hawking your shit. Popcorn makers and Dr. Peppers and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And
get popping.
We will happily do it. For Abigail Gardner and Jacob Walsh, my name is Craig Goldberg. Thank you for joining us this week. We will see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.